Today we're going to talk about solving one-step equations and writing expressions from word problems. Make sure you have your step-by-step notes handy so that you can take notes as we go. The vocabulary for this lesson is inverse operation. You've probably heard this term before, but inverse operation is a pair of operations that undo each other. So if we're talking about the big four operations, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, we know that addition undoes subtraction, subtraction undoes addition, multiplication undoes division, and division undoes multiplication. So let me give you an example of that. If I have positive 5, then I can subtract 5 and I get 0. That shows me where addition and subtraction undo each other. The same as if I had negative 5 and I added 5 to get 0. Okay, so that's those two. And then if I talk about multiplication and division, I could say that if I have 5 and I divide it by 5, that's going to give me 1. Just the same as if I had 1/5 and I multiplied it by 5, that's also going to give me 1. So undoing things, adding and subtracting, you're trying to get a 0. But multiplying and dividing, you're trying to get a 1. Make sure those examples are on your page. You may want to pause your video. Make sure those examples are on your notes. The first example we're going to look at today is x plus 5 equals 20. So our goal is to isolate this variable. Okay, so I'm going to just make a note here. Goal is isolate the variable. In order to get x by itself, we're going to have to get rid of this. It needs to go to the other side. If it's a plus 5, remember that the opposite of addition is subtraction, so we should subtract 5 from both sides. Plus 5 minus 5 equals 0. So we're left with x equals 20 minus 5, which is 15. So there's your answer, x equals 15. If you want to check yourself, ask yourself, does 15 plus 5 equal 20? Yeah, 20 does equal 20. So 15 is the value for x. Example 2 shows where we have a subtraction operation. M take away 3 is 11. So what minus 3 is going to give you 11? Well, again, our goal is to isolate our variable. So we want to get this on the other side. If he's negative 3, you can add 3 to both sides, and negative 3 plus 3 equals 0. So m equals 11 plus 3, which is 14. To check yourself, see if 14 take away 3 equals 11. And 14 take away 3 does equal 11. So we're right. M equals 14. If any point in time you need to pause, remember that you have that option to get caught up. Example 3 is showing you that 6x's equals 48. So your question is, what does 1x equal? Well, this is saying 6 times x. Multiplication is the only sign that can be invisible. So if 6 times x is 48, divide both sides by 6, and that gives you x equals 8. And just to check to see if you are right, 6 times 8 is 48. Yes, that's correct. 6 times 8 is 48. So we were correct. X does equal 8. Here's a problem here where we're dividing. It says that what divided by 4 equals 15? What divided by 4 equals 15? We want to get this on the other side. What undoes division? Multiplication undoes division. So if I multiply both sides by 4, 4 divided by 4 is 1. So I have x on this side. And 15 times 4 is 60. This might be the most complicated when you're working with fractions. But that's okay. Just remember that multiplication undoes division. So 60 divided by 4, does that equal 15? 60 divided by 4 is 15. Yes, it does. So x equals 60 must be our solution. All right, example 5 says that 3/4 of m is 15. So if I have something and I take 3/4 of it and get 15, what could that something be? Well, to take care of getting this guy to the other side, he's division, so I could multiply by his reciprocal. This might be a new trick for some of you. If you cross cancel, 4 and 4 gives you 1, and 3 and 3 gives you 1. That's why it works. So multiply both sides by 4/3, and you're going to get m equals 15 times 4/3, and 15 times 4 is 60, divided by 3 is 20. So m equals 20. You can check yourself by doing 3/4 times 20 equals 15. 20 times 3 is 60, divided by 4 is 15. So we in fact are right. M equals 20. So remember, if you have a fraction in there and you multiply by its reciprocal, that will eliminate it. Let's try it again. Now you have -5/8 times something equals 10. In order to get this guy over here, we're going to multiply by his reciprocal. It's a negative, so it would be -8/5. And multiply this by -8/5. And let's see, -8 and 8, that cross cancels to -1/1. 5 and -5 makes a -1/1, and -1 times -1 is a +1. So we eliminated the fraction. We get y equals 10 times -8/5. And 10 times -8 is -80 divided by 5. And let's see, how many times does 5 go into 80? $80 divided by 5. 5 goes into 8 one time, with 3 left over. Bring down the 0. 5 times 6 is 30. So it goes in there 16 times, but remember it's negative. So y equals -16. 16. So negative 5/8 times negative 16 equals 10. Okay. Here's a word problem where you have to write the expression or the equation and then solve. You're going to model the situation. Jenny is selling homemade apple pies for $4 each. If she made $64, how many apple pies did she sell? Write a word problem to model this situation and solve. So here we have the question, how many apple pies did she sell? So in order to complete this lesson, I would like for you to make sure that your notes are completed. Summarize on that back page how to solve a one-step equation. Take the Edmodo quiz online. And then lastly, I would like for you to write any questions that you might have about solving a one-step equation. Your questions might be like, how do I handle addition? What's the inverse operation of addition? Or your question might be like, how do I handle fractions? What do I do when I have a 1/3 x equals 10? Write down your questions on the back page so that I can answer those tomorrow in class. Have a great night.